switching it up a little bit with this one, even though it does have a fairly consistent through line with some of the other topics on the channel. But check this out. Mayo Clinic doctor Connor Bowman, who poisoned his wife with gout medicine for a $500,000 life insurance. I know, normally we're talking about the wives doing some crazy stuff because they're trying to secure the bag at the end of the day, but this guy's out here just trying to knock off his old lady, is charged with murder after friends told police they were having marital issues after opening an open relationship and finding out why that is such a terrible decision. Oh, big shock on that one. Somebody who wasn't all that convinced that maybe an open relationship was the best for them. Be attempting the whole egalitarian approach when it comes to this. Well, as a successful Mayo Clinic doctor, I would like to step out and, well, I'm just being a good guy by allowing my wife to go ahead to have that same type of access. Oy, oy, oy. Of course, well, either it ends in divorce or, well, it kind of ends up like this. So let's see what we got. Former Mayo Clinic doctor, oh no, hopefully he didn't lose his job over this, accused of poisoning his wife with gout medicine after their open relationship failed, has been indicted on first-degree murder. Oh, shucks. Connor Bowman, 30, was arrested in Rochester, Minnesota, after initially charged with second-degree murder in the death of Betty Bowman, 32. And she's older. Your doctor. He hooked up with an older, all right then, but was handed a second charge for murder in the first degree last week. The grand jury in Olmsted County, Minnesota, issued the indictment on January 5th. County Attorney Mark Ostream said in a press release. Betty Bowman found herself on an operating room pharmacist at, an operating room pharmacist at Mayo Clinic, right? Died on August 20th following a 4-day hospital stay from suspected food poisoning. Okay, her husband is actually accused of fatally poisoning her using colocaine, a drug used to treat gout. They kind of look like brother and sister as opposed to, husband and wife, but if this was Alabama, I might have my concerns, but it's Minnesota, so it all kind of makes sense. But who's going to look after the dog? Oh, man. Cute little corgi. The person I actually care about in this story. When Betty began to suffer from cardiac issues and organ failure during her hospital stay, Bowman suggested she suffered from hemophagocytic lymphoma, a rare illness where white blood cells build up and damage organs. Oh, yeah, yes, of course. However, investigators said she was considered a healthy person before her passing and experienced no previous symptoms of the disease. One day after her death, a Southeast Minnesota medical examiner's office told the Rochester Police Department about a suspicious death and prevented a cremation from taking place. Authorities said Bowman had asked the medical examiner's office for his wife to be cremated immediately because her death was natural. Yeah, of course. Can we just go ahead and get rid of the body? Because, just in case, anybody wants to do. Oh, shucks. They wanted to do another autopsy. The 30-year-old also emailed death investigators asking if toxicology reports were more thorough than what would typically be done at a hospital. What an asshole. Bowman had recently finished Mayo Clinic's pharmacist residency and also worked as a poison control specialist. Can you make this any more obvious, my guy? Jeez. Probable cause affidavit uncovered a relationship fraught with jealousy and turmoil. You don't say. One woman close to the couple said they had been talking about a divorce following infidelity and a deteriorating relationship. Yeah, I'm so shocked that an open relationship would end up descending into chaos. Wow, amazing how that happens. Wow, you can tell how much she doesn't want to be in that relationship. Just if that's the actual proposal picture. Holy shit, man. Like she's like, oh, it's so cute. Good boy. So glad that you finally got down on one knee. Oh, it's about time. Oh boy. They have so many of these glamour shots, and it's like, they couldn't look any less in love with one another. Holy. Despite the couple agreeing to be in an open relationship with no strings attached, there's always strings attached. Bowman allegedly became infatuated with his new girlfriend. All right, somebody who's not got the good looks of his cousin. His wife reportedly confronted him and suggested they start divorce proceedings. Bowman, who was in debt, also told a friend he was due a $500,000 life insurance policy following her death. Upon searching Bowman's home, investigators recovered a receipt for a $450,000 bank deposit. Sorry, what? Friends, many of whom were medical professionals themselves, said to have suspected the 30-year-old may have had a role in his wife's death. 10 days before Betty's death, a friend reportedly tried a smoothie Bowman had made for his wife. It tasted very bad, and the friend even joked that Connor must be trying to poison her. What the like, yo, is this bitch retarded? That's like, okay, it tastes like poison, and you're an anesthetist. You can't put two and two together? You guys are heading for divorce, and it's like, oh, let me just make a couple of smoothies. Like, what the fuck? Betty quipped that she had considered it at the time and that she didn't think that would happen. However, she chose not to drink the smoothie anyway and threw it out, the affidavit said. Well, yes, of course. No, maybe her face is stuck like that. There's nothing positive that I can say about this guy's receding hairline and insane nose and chin that it can't say for itself very loudly and with exclamation points. But I mean, if they could have made this work, there would have been 2 less scoundrels out there on the market fucking it up for the rest of us. But okay. Oh, see, she actually looks normal in that picture, sort of, kind of. The only chick that I've ever seen make bangs work. Interesting. One of Betty's boyfriends, I'm sorry, what? One of the many, told detectives she was so sick she could not sleep at all. And he's like, let me just go ahead and, take your temperature with a flesh-colored thermometer after a night of drinking with her husband 4 days before her death. She said the culprit may have been alcohol, and that mixed into a large smoothie, according to the affidavit. Okay, that would make a little bit more sense. Poisoned her when she was already poisoned, I guess. Okay. Investigators asserted Bowman used his Mayo Clinic email address to buy cocaine and that he used an online tool to calculate the lethal dosage for his wife's weight. Well, you just a whole bunch of it in there. Screw it. After seizing Bowman's University of Kansas issued laptop, cops found he also purchased sodium nitrate, a chemical compound that lowers blood pressure. Oh, so he was really trying to famoose this. Bowman ultimately tried to blame Betty for fraudulently buying the cocaine under his name. Oh, yeah, right, of course. The 30-year-old's conduct attracted suspicion in the days following his wife's death. Friends described his demeanor as stoic and calm as he went out for drinks, appearing to be happy or at least indifferent about his wife's passing. Well, they were heading for divorce, and even though, they were both doctors, she still would have ended up coming away with some of his earnings at the end of the day. If convicted of first-degree murder, Bowman will be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Ooh, his next court date is scheduled for January 16th. It'll be interesting to see if he can find a way to famoose himself out of this stuff. But guys, okay, there were a couple of hallmarks that were on here, okay? One of her boyfriends, okay, just letting you know how thirsty guys are out there, okay, especially if she's handing it out for free and somebody else's foot in the bill. Of course somebody's gonna end up taking a free swing at it. These open relationships that just end up manifesting with such terrible levels of jealousy. Like, is there one successful open relationship that we know of that's out there and proud of its open status that has ever worked out appropriately? We've seen one very public just dissolve in front of everybody's eyes towards the end of 2023. Good job, Destiny. All of your overanalyzing of situations. You couldn't even apply any of that logic to your own relationship. Sucks to suck, I guess. Here's another one. Here's another obvious example, okay? Oh, the guy was really overly infatuated with his girlfriend, but then at the same time you have multiple boyfriends of the wife in this situation coming out and saying, yeah man, it was really crazy. She just really was too sick to party with me, which also kind of lets you know what was going on there as well. Like, these guys just really only cared about, the free access they were getting. But who was instigating the divorce ultimately? What led up to all of these open relationship negotiations? That's what I would really like to know. But I'm sure if it does eventually go to trial, more of that information will get elucidated. And yeah, we'll just have another example in the long, long line of how open relationships never goddamn work. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo, and I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.